Hello. It is I, once again, the Bruce Wayne of Azure Lane, back at it again for yet another Azure Lane ship review. All right, so I thought I'd just go over all the French girls, really. And of course, the first one would be Clement Sue. So, and by the way, prepare for me to butcher a lot of French in this. I'm just going to let you know that. Anyway, so what is there to say about Clement Sue? I decided to compare her to her original sister, Richelieu, and now she actually has a significant decrease in health, but she has better firepower and slightly better anti-air. But it's not really that impressive, actually. So now you go to her skills. Will of the Tribunal increases the ship's accuracy by 12%. When the battle starts, for each Vichia Dominion ship in your fleet, increases this ship's firepower and AA by 5%. When the battle starts, if there is a Vichia ship in your vanguard, increases this ship's reload by 10%. So she actually receives buffs from other French ships in the fleet. But actually, you know what? She's kind of like a French version of Sovietskaya Rossiya, who is a big fan of taking buffs, but never giving them out to the rest of the fleet. Anyway, when this ship fires her main gun, 75% chance to fire level 10 special barrage. Enemies hit by this barrage have their firepower, torpedo, and AVI decreased by 5% for 5 seconds. When the battle starts, if there are 5 Iris or Vichia ships in your fleet, if the ship has Iris Orthodoxy gear equipped, increases this ship's activation chance by 25%. So I actually think that the French light cruiser gun is specifically made to be put on Clement Sue, because it seems like I don't know, that gun is actually not very good. But if you wanted to equip her with other good battleship gear, and the best anti-air gun is a Royal Navy anti-air gun for battleships anyway, you would want a light cruiser gun that was Iris to activate her skill. So to me, that's what that light cruiser gun is for. Holy Sea's Judgment increases this ship's main gun crit rate by 12% and main gun crit damage by 15%. The ship's first salvo always deals critical damage if aimed manually. So, fun fact, she is not auto-friendly, but she's still usable. She's actually a decent ship. Decent French ship, I would say. I'll give her that. Anyway, so moving on to the next ship, which is the one I was most excited for, and that is Payne Levy. So, Payne Levy is, well, she's an okay carrier, I guess. So anyway, every 18 seconds activates one of the following effects. Choose at random, increases this ship's and your flagship's damage dealt by 8%. For 8 seconds, if this ship is your flagship, the effect does not stack. So increases this ship's AVI by 15% and decreases your frontmost Vanguard ship's damage taken by 8%. So these are actually two very good buffs. I would say, not groundbreaking, but actually very, very good buffs. Now, Holy Iris's wishes increase this ship's reload by 15%. 5 seconds after the ship launches an airstrike, restore 7% of this ship's and all your Vanguard ships' respective HP. If a recipient of this effect has less than 25%, add an additional 100% HP is restored. Dang, that is an incredibly decent skill for a healing carrier. Actually, this makes her incredibly useful. So, yeah, in terms of her actual damage, is nothing to write home about, because she gets 3 fighters and 3 torpedo bombers and 2 dive bombers, all at 130% efficiency, which is actually, that's all right. That's decent. But the thing that you want her most for is Holy Iris's wishes. Which okay, here's another thing. The thing that carriers crave the most is reload. So the fact that she boosts her reload this much is quite nice. But this healing skill, this basically will allow the French fleet to start mobbing and mobbing incredibly difficult content. So Payne Levy, highly recommended. Now moving on to Guichon. I'm going to butcher this the whole way. So Guichon is at surface level value. She does have very good main gun efficiency and pretty good torpedoes, surprisingly. Her health, not all that great. Her evasion is actually pretty dang good for a light cruiser. So I guess that kind of balances out. Anyway, go to her skills. Shells or sorcery. Increase this ship's speed by 3. EVA by 15%, and evasion rate by 8%. This makes her incredibly tanky right off the bat, actually. When the ship fires her main gun 6 times, activates one of the following randomly chosen effects. Fires a level 10 special barrage, or uses this ship's main guns to fire 2 times, which is actually, okay, this skill for a light cruiser is actually not bad at all. This is like tanky and damaging. So, Prophetic Witch increases this ship's firepower and AA by 15%. Further increases this ship's AA by 5%. When the enemy aircraft is shot down within your AA gun range, can be stacked up to 5 times. And when the battle starts, randomly chooses one of this ship's stats and increases it by 5%. When the ship fires her torpedoes, can be stacked up to 3 times. When the battle starts, if there is another Iris Libre or Vicia Dominion ship in your fleet, when this effect activates, also sets the speed of a random enemy to 0 for 2 seconds. So on top of being a kind of tanky light cruiser, she also has a slow and some alright buffs to herself. But to me, she's decent. She's actually a very decent cruiser. But what I think is the shining quality of Guichon. Now, I'm going to have to go into the game and show you this. So for some reason, it's not on the wiki. On the wiki, it says, when you level her to 120, she gives you +1 AA. But if you go into the game, which I will right now, so you go to the lab, go to Fleet Tech, and click Iris and Vicia, and go to Guichon, and it says she gives you +1 EVA for light cruisers. That is the best thing you could get from Fleet Tech for light cruisers, and I'm immediately going to level her up to 120, mainly because I use light cruisers all the time. I don't know why it's in the wiki, but it says in the game she gives +1 EVA. So that is something that you really should keep in mind. Yeah, that is something to really keep in mind. That's quite nice. So anyway, moving on back to the next ship, which is Leon. I'm going to save you the trouble and let you know this battleship is totally useless. Moving on to the next ship, Suffren. Suffren has actually some very strange names of her skill. Admiral Satan. I'm not touching this ship. So increases this ship's firepower and torpedo by 15%. When the battle starts and this ship fires her main gun 6 times, increases this ship's damage dealt by 10% for 30 seconds. Now, 30 seconds is actually an eternity in Azur Lane terms. But how much damage does she deal, and is it worth it? Well, right now, it doesn't look that impressive. So she has, I would say, average firepower for a heavy cruiser, and her main gun efficiency is only 115%. But she does have very strong torpedoes at 160%. As far as being tanky goes, I'll just say she's not all that tanky, really. She's kind of this health is kind of squishy. Well, I mean, her next skill actually increases her EVA by 10%, and that'll definitely help her tank, her survivability. But and then if you if you give her some French gear, it decreases your Iris Libre and Vicia ship's damage taken during battle by 10%. That is no small buff. That's actually very, very good. So I would say the only way that she could be potentially useful is in tanking your Vanguard. The thing is, there's already some other ships that do this a little bit better. I mean, Jeanne d'Arc is kind of one of them, and she's already a French ship, so she'll receive all the French buffs as is. So, Suffren, interesting, mostly unimpressive, actually. And then Kirsten, my favorite ship design from this event. So Kirsten is actually very useful. So increases. So her first skill, Liturgia Horarum. So increases this ship's AA and anti-sub by 1%. I'm guessing this goes up to 10%. It doesn't show it right there. But anyway, every 20 seconds, activates one of the following effects chosen at random. Increases this ship's firepower and torpedo by 20% for 10 seconds. That is actually a very good increase for a destroyer. And her main gun and torpedo efficiency at both at 140%. They're okay, but with this buff, they'll actually be more okay. So increases this ship's crit rate and crit damage by 20% for 10 seconds. That's all right. So, and then this is the most important one though. Restores 5% max HP to the Iris Libre or Vicia Dominion ship in your fleet with the lowest maximum HP. I mean, you already have the healer in Payne Levy. Now, Kirsten, the problem is this is unreliable because it's random. But the one plus is that no matter what, at every 20 seconds, it's guaranteed something good's going to happen. You just don't know what it is. So, and by the way, she's actually, just so you know, not that incredible when it comes in the health department. So I would say she's probably not that tanky when it comes to being a destroyer. I mean, no destroyers except for a select few are truly tanky. But I mean, she might be more on the squishy side. So keep that in mind. And then I decided to just throw Marcellus in this because I have not reviewed Marcellus. And I got to say, as far as a faction buffer goes, this is one of the most incredible additions. And this ship is probably, in a lot of ways, better and more useful, with the one exception of Payne Levy, than all the other French ships we have gotten in the recent, let's say, past month. So right off the back, decent health for a light cruiser. Nothing to write home about, not incredible. 155% main gun efficiency and 155% for torpedoes is good. And considering she has okay firepower and torpedo, also good. So she'll be a okay damage dealer, but what matters is her skills. So the Day of Glory arrives, increases this ship's speed by 4 and EVA by 15, so already tanky, and decreases her damage taken by 15%, extra tanky on top of the tanky. And when this ship is attacked, 15% chance to deploy a barrier. Last 8 seconds can negate up to 3% of this ship's HP and damage. 20-second cooldown between activations. When this barrier is destroyed or when it expires, fires a level 10 special barrage. So basically extra tanky. And then she has a counter. So I would say this is very good. High survivability for a light cruiser. Then Anthem of Beloved Freedom, which is her next skill and the most important. Increases this ship's firepower and accuracy by 15% while this ship is afloat. And keep in mind, her being basically incredibly tanky helps her stay afloat increases your Iris Libre and Vicia Dominion ships' firepower, torpedo, AVI, and reload by 8%, and every 20 seconds restores 1% of those ships' max HP. So she basically adds a repair toolkit to everybody in a French fleet. And on top of that, she buffs them. But her buffing them is added on top of the fact that you already have Richelieu buffing the French fleet. So now the French fleet has 2 buffs. That's actually very, very good for a French ship, any ship really. If any a faction got a ship like this, that is astoundingly good. So Marcellus is actually the best French ship we have gotten so far out of this past month. And then so while we're at it, I thought I would just review West Virginia's retrofit. Now keep in mind her improvement to her health is not that big. 30 firepower is actually very good. She gets a nice AA boost. Overall, improvements across the board. But, and I'm going to go back into the game for this because I have retrofitted her. But at the same time, I also have her in, where is she? I have not maxed out her skill just yet. But there she is. West Virginia retrofit. So, when you retrofit her, she gets this skill right here. So this ship fires her main gun, 70% chance to fire a level 10 special barrage in a straight line forwards. Damage is based on the skills level. Once per battle, when the ship's HP falls below 35% as a result of damage taken, fires this special barrage. So she is, her barrage is now improved somewhat. Now increases this ship's firepower by 8. Well, here's the thing. I don't have this maxed out yet, but I'm working on it. And I guess it might go up to maybe 10%. So when the battle starts, if there is another battleship in your fleet, increases this ship's accuracy and AA by probably 10%, and improves the special barrage fired by the skill Big 7 West Virginia, and applies the following 2 effects. Enemies hit by the special barrage have their speed reduced by 30% for 5 seconds. Increases your battleships and battlecruisers damage dealt to enemies slowed by this skill by 8%. So now she will introduce a slow, and she actually buffs your battleships. So I think that's incredibly good for West Virginia. Whether or not she's worth using, because I could see her being used, if you were using an Eagle Union fleet, I could see her being used with Kearsarge and New Jersey, because Kearsarge will buff both of them, and then Virginia and New Jersey will actually send each other buffs. So that would be an interesting setup right there. But overall, this does actually make her a lot more useful, because now she can buff other battleships. But the slow plus this buff gives her a very nice niche. So I would say this is a very decent retrofit for a ship. And if her niche comes in handy, I'll use it. Now, moving on from there to back to this, and at the request of someone in the comments section, which so they wanted me to take a look at the augments for Prince of Wales and the augment for Algeria. So I'll just right up tell you, the augment for Prince of Wales is very decent. It just makes her, it actually just makes her buff go from just buffing Eagle Union ships to now buffing Royal Navy ships. But it gives her a very good accuracy boost and firepower boost, which is the best thing you could give a battleship or battle cruiser. So I would give her augment on a rating of 1 to 10. I would give it about an 8. And then Bludgeon of Faith, accuracy boost and firepower boost, very decent and exactly kind of what you want for a heavy cruiser. Now, replaces Bellowing Gusts of Fire at plus 10, Bellowing Gusts of Fire plus, so increases this ship's damage to burning enemies by 15%, 20 seconds after the battle starts, and with a 70% chance Whenever this ship fires its main guns, fires a special barrage that inflicts a special burn ailment to enemies hit. So she basically becomes a fire-spewing dragon on the front of your vanguard. However, I will say uh, this does actually boost her quite well. Still doesn't make her worth using over Brest in a French fleet. So weigh that carefully in your head. Anyway, so that's all I got for you today, guys. Um, as always, if you like my content, please like and subscribe, especially for more Azure Lane ship reviews, further content with either Aether Gazer, War Thunder, but mostly Azure Lane. I'd like to wish all you Shikikons a farewell and following seas, and take it easy, guys.